which young ladies might succeed at securing a match?
You've always amused me, Miss Bridgerton, ever since I was a schoolboy and you were...
Oh, but 5?
Miss Bridgerton!
Oh, pardon me.
Forgive me.
Good morning, you two. Y'all are lucky because normally if I've had 1.2 glasses of wine, I automatically think I'm from London. I'll start talking some accent that nobody's ever heard. But luckily for you, I haven't had any wine this morning.
Wow, don't let that restrict
I think
your
that's
fun.
unlucky
Go
for
wild.
us, actually.
Yeah.
Unlucky. I know. Both of you are known for being on the hottest show, not only on Netflix, but I think the whole planet, literally 63 million streams, Bridgerton, if I even have to say it. But before what seems to be like this overnight success, you both have been at this for some time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both actors. It's not quite our first rodeo. But I think certainly it's the first time either of us has experienced a wave of this magnitude. The enthusiasm for the show is quite extraordinary. And it's certainly something that I'm getting used to for the first time. But also, I think that that's something that we can be very proud of. I think the show had an enthusiasm before we started. It was a huge bestseller in the books and it had fans, and expanding that community is a big win and something that I think that all the hundreds of people who worked on this show can be very proud of.
Yeah, I know, Phoebe, you knew your mom as Mom, but everyone else saw her as this soap opera star. Did you always know you wanted to follow in her footsteps?
Yeah, I mean, my whole family sort of linked in the industry in different ways. So yeah, I think it was always sort of a conversation in my house. And I think the first thing was, my parents would always talk about how interesting actors seemed to be. So I guess it was sort of always there in my blood. And then suddenly there was no stopping me.
Yeah.
I got to 11 and I think that, it was like all guns blazing, we're doing this.
Yeah. Outside of, Shonda Rhimes having her hands on this, did you both know that this was going to be huge? Like, do y'all have some special bell that goes off in your head that says, this is it?
I mean, I think that the script was pretty unique and not like anything that I was reading at the time, certainly. So there's certainly a bell that goes off saying this is going to do something that hasn't been done, and kind of what shape that'll take once it broadcasts, you never really can foretell. But certainly I think we've been pleasantly surprised at the sheer size of the impact it's having, and I don't think you can be anything but delighted with that.
Yeah. Will you, for the 4 people on the planet that haven't seen it, will you set up what Bridgerton is about?
Yeah, I mean, it's set in Regency, England, 1813, and it follows the lives of aristocrats, really, in high society. And it's sort of narrated through the lens of Lady Whistledown, the gossip columnist, narrated by the amazing Julie Andrews.
My name is Lady Whistledown. You do not know me, but I know you.
We sort of follow all their love lives and it's sort of all their coming of ages, really, these young people, and seeing how they deal with being catapulted into the marriage mark, which has its own challenges for sure.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, the acting is hot, the dancing is heavy, and then there's a lot of hot and heavy. Did you have to give your family time codes on when to take a potty break? I'm like, I blushed with my husband in the room. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Similar. I think the Brits take tea breaks. We make tactical cups of tea. You leave the room just like for no particular reason at all, just to make a very, very long cup of tea and then bring that back into the room when the egregious scenes have passed.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I had hoped for from a show like this is beautiful music and gorgeous costumes. I think there's over 7,500 costumes to be exact. But we'd all hoped for some steaminess and some love. But what I came away with is this rich cast of so many colors and not just variant colors of white. Do you feel like that's contributed to the success and the obsession, really, that everybody can see themselves in the show?
Absolutely. I think that it's a great big Cinderella fantasy about rich, attractive, and admirable people living their best lives. And I think that the more that you can see yourself living your best life in this kind of environment and worthy of richness, attractive, and admirableness and love, the better place the world will be. So the more and more people we can involve in that, the better we'll be as a whole. And so I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, I always ask our guests, what's one question you wish we journalists would ask, but don't? So I'm going to need that question and then also the answer.
Wow. I hadn't thought of that. Reggae? Any thought reggae?
I think the question I wish that I was asked more often is, what exact type of coffee would you like to turn up right now? And the answer would be like 3 different cappuccinos, and thank you very much.
Oh, you know, it's the cast, I think, are the ones that speak about the show, but the amount of people that work behind the scenes on the show who were amazing. I mean, from the costume department to the, you know, to the set design, to the writers. I mean, it takes a whole lot of talented people to come together and make a show like Bridgerton. So to be able to talk about them is really nice.
It's great. Well, you two are beautiful.
Answer, actually.
Yeah, the chemistry between you two is great. And you can tell there's a whole chemistry on the show. I love it. Everybody loves it. Thank you for taking time to talk to Houston this morning.
Thank you so much
for having us.
And scene. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. No worries.